Hey guys, Mrs. Rainey here. Just wanted to go ahead and give you guys a brief rundown of our Art 2 digital photography lesson for this week. Actually, it's for the next 2 weeks. It's for weeks 4 and weeks 5 of e-learning. So this is forced perspective. Hopefully you guys already know what this is. Maybe some of you have already even done this. So you'll be good, awesome pros at it. But what we're going to do is called forced photography. So real quick, we're going to talk about a couple of the photography basics, top 10 photography basics. So number 1, get in close. Zoom actually decreases your photo quality. So I don't want you to zoom in like with your phone or with your camera. I'd rather have you use your feet and get closer. Okay, I hope that makes sense to everyone. And then practice before shooting your final subject. You always want to practice first. We're going to practice first with a warm-up. You guys are going to do a warm-up before you do the actual assignment. Number 3, check for even lighting. So you want to make sure the lighting is good anytime you're taking a photograph. Number 4, keep an eye out for composition. Hopefully we all remember this word composition. In art, it's the way things are arranged on the page or the way things are arranged within the photograph or the frame of the photo that you're taking. So that should be review for everyone. Keep your batteries charged, all right? Make sure your phone's charged. Keep your batteries on your camera charged if you're using a DSLR camera. Number 6, pay attention to the background. I know we talked about foreground, middle ground, and background last year, and we talk about it often in the classroom, but pay attention to the background in your photographs. You want to make sure like it doesn't look like somebody has a street light coming out of their head or something weird going on in the background, or that the background's not too cluttered. So in photographs, it's really important we pay attention to the background. Number 7, watch for the golden hour. I'm not sure if you guys know what the golden hour is, but if you don't, it is the 1 hour before the sun sets in the evening and the 1 hour after the sun rises in the morning. So as soon as the sun goes down, or comes up, it creates this lighting effect that we call the golden hour. So that is the perfect time to take a photo where you don't even need a filter because the lighting is just perfect, just the way that it is. Number 8, stick to the rule of thirds. Hopefully we all remember the rule of thirds. We talk about this all the time in the art room. Number 9, look for leading lines and natural cropping or framing opportunities. So we'll talk about this a little later. Leading lines are important in photographs, and then you can do some tricks to do some cropping, or you can find like 2 trees to create a natural cropping or framing opportunity with your photo. And then the number 10, to round out our top 10 basics, is to have fun. Have fun when you're taking photos and when you're doing your art. It shows through in your artwork. Okay, so composition. How are the parts of the picture arranged and what is inside the frame? This is important. So how everything is arranged within the picture, what's inside the frame, this is your composition. And this is very important to look at and be thinking about. Use the rule of thirds, framing, close-ups, and balance to take photos with better composition. You can change the settings in your camera to turn on the rule of thirds grid in your viewfinder without affecting the photograph. You guys can do this on your cell phones too. You can put a rule of thirds grid or a grid on your camera, on your cell phone, that will help you to follow the rule of thirds when you're taking a photo. If you need that, go for it. This is an awesome kind of trick of the trade. And then if you need to review foreground, middle ground, and background, there is a video right here where it says here in turquoise letters. I'm not going to click on it now, but if you guys want to view it, you can view it on your own. Come back, you'll have access to this presentation. Okay, here's the rule of thirds. You can see in this top photo, the top left photo, you've got your frame is divided horizontally into thirds and vertically into thirds. And where those little pink circles are, those are the intersections of your thirds. And if you put your subject at one of those intersections, this is like a rule of thumb, you are going to end up with a good image, a good compositionally sound image. So if you look at this picture to the right of the couple on horsebacks, the horses right there are right at your rule of thirds. They're right at that intersection. Okay, framing. The subject is framed or partially framed by an element within the picture, drawing interest to the dominant subject. This helps the subject fill the frame. It can also block unwanted subjects from view. So you can see all three of these photos are examples of framing. We've used a window on an old truck to frame this old barn, use the window frame to frame what's going on in the landscape outside, and using the leading lines of the fence to frame the church in the picture on the far right. Okay, now we're going to talk about perspective. Hopefully we all remember bird's eye perspective and worm's eye perspective. Bird's eye perspective is like if we were a bird flying over the city looking down, what would we see? So the two images on the left are the bird's eye perspective. And then if we were a little worm looking up from the ground up, that would be worm's eye perspective. So you can see the yellow flowers and the girl who's about to stomp the camera. Those are worm's eye perspective. I want you guys to keep those things in mind as you're taking photos and doing things. But we're going to talk about a different type of perspective. We're going to talk about forced perspective. When you're forcing the perspective, you are forcing the viewer to see something from a unique and unusual perspective. So when we take a forced perspective photograph, we're creating an optical illusion, and we're playing a trick on the eye, on the viewer's eye. So if you see here in these photos, like this boy with the shoes, he's got the shoes positioned in a funny manner. He's standing behind the shoes, but the shoes are closer to the camera, so they look out of perspective. They look out of proportion. They're bigger than they should be. And then he's making a silly face. If you go below him, the girl, the ballerina in the bottom left, somebody's used a flower. They're holding the rose upside down to create the illusion of a tutu or her ballerina skirt. So, and then the girl in the green jacket on the bottom looks like she's stomping the head of her friend. Then you've got somebody pouring water on an iPad, and then you've got liquid from behind it coming into the bowl below it. You got a guy and his girl. Looks like he's holding her and balancing her on one hand, and then the girl jumping over the car. These are all examples of forced perspective photographs, and these are the kind of images that I want you guys to take. Here are some more great examples of forced perspective. Look at this guy in the bottom center photo. Looks like he's hanging on for dear life to his bike with one hand and his, the window or the sidewalk with another hand. Then you've got the guy up top with all of his little friends in the hat. Lots of really neat stuff. Bottom left, this kiddo's painting the sky, painting the skyline. So I love that, the imagery there, painting the town red. To the top right, where the guy looks like he's deflating the balloon with his finger, right? And the girl who's pouring her tiny teapot into the giant teacup. So these are the kinds of images I want you guys to take for this assignment. It's going to be super fun. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. If you want to see some forced perspective photos, tips, and tricks, this image right here, if you click on it, this is a YouTube video. It's about 3 minutes long. And they go into some super kind of geeky details about wide angles and aperture speed and all this stuff. And you guys can still take a great photo without all of that technical knowledge. But it's good to know and hear if you want to hear it. And then remember, the key to a good forced perspective photo is making sure you create an optical illusion. So you want to double check your lines, and you want to make sure all the points meet where they're supposed to. If, like the guy who is holding the bicycle, you want to make sure that it really looks like he's holding his bicycle and like he's really holding on, to the side of the building. You want to make sure you get your angles right so that it turns out to be a proper optical illusion. Okay, so just like last time, you are going to have a warm-up that is due at the end of this week, and then you will have your final assignment that will be due at the end of next week. So this is a 2-week assignment. Your warm-up is called 4 Corners. It's due April 12th at 11:59 p.m. So what you want to do for your 4 Corners warm-up is carry a subject or an object with you and put it in the frame no matter where you're shooting. So think about the famous traveling gnome. Bring a favorite thing on your outing and figure out how to include it in your images. Notice how it dictates framing and composition. Be creative with the placement of your portable subject. You're going to turn in 4 pictures total, one with that subject or object in each corner of the frame. So what I'm hoping this will do is kind of prime you or prep you for the optical illusion and the forced perspective photo that you're going to take for next week. So I want you to carry some sort of special item. It can be a Lego man. It can be your favorite stuffed animal. It can be a marble or anything, a teacup, whatever. But I want you to put that object in each corner of the frame. Take 4 pictures total and turn those 4 pictures into me in Canvas by Sunday night. Now, if you have to take more pictures, that's fine. Just turn in the 4 pictures with the subject or the object in each corner of the frame. This is all about practice. So I want to make sure that you guys understand that. And again, if you have questions, just let me know, email me, call me, Zoom me, whatever. Okay, then your assignment guidelines are to create an original and unique forced perspective photograph. I want you to think about lighting as well as the elements of art and principles of design. Your photo must be in focus. If you turn in a photo that's so blurry I can't tell what's going on, that's not okay. That's not acceptable. So make sure your photo is in focus. Then number 2, take more pictures than you think you will need. Then you turn in the best one. You or a family member must appear somewhere in this photograph. So I want you to star in this photograph, either you, a family member, a sibling, or if you don't want to be in the photo, you can't find a family member, none of your family members want to be in the photo, then I want you to place an object with special meaning to you in the photo. Okay? So this photo has to mean something special to you. Number 3, I want you to create a 2 to 3 sentence write-up about the process and what you were thinking as you took the photo and turn it in with your photo in Canvas. So you will turn in a photo with your forced perspective that includes either you or a family member somewhere in the photo or an object with special meaning to you in the photo, along with a 2 to 3 sentence write-up that says, I took this photo with my younger sibling looking like he was biting the head off a dinosaur because I thought it would be funny and hilarious, and it was really difficult to pull off the illusion or whatnot, okay? And then you're going to turn that into Canvas by Sunday, April 19th at 11:59 p.m. And then last but not least, be creative and have fun. I can't wait to see what you guys turn in. I'm super excited. If you want to use some editing, some photo editing, you don't have to with this assignment. You can pull off these photos without any editing apps. But if you want to do some photo editing, here's a list of free photo editing apps that you can use: Adobe Draw, Pixlr, Ibis, Sketchbook, Aviary, PixArt, Google Draw. If all you have is a Chromebook, you can use Google Draw to help. Piskel app. And as long as you are using an app where you, the artist, are able to adjust the amount of saturation and filtering that you apply to the photos, I'm totally fine with it. I don't want to see any Snapchat filters or blanket filters where it's just like a press a button and a blanket filter applies to the photo. I hope that makes sense to everyone. I want you to be adjusting the filter or the filtration of the photo. So if you use an app, make sure that you, the artist, are applying the amount of filtering to the photo. And then again, app is optional. You don't have to use any editings or apps with it. Okay? Last but not least, this is our lesson plan. The learning target is I can review digital photography techniques and perspective, and I can create a forced perspective photograph. All right, vocabulary is composition, foreground, middle ground, background, photography, bird's eye view, worm's eye view, eye level, digital, edition, and series. You guys are creating a series of photographs for me. Our essential quality questions are: is a digital photograph considered art? What if it is filtered? Are filters the only way to alter digital photos? Hopefully this presentation asked those questions or answered those questions for you. And once again, I can't wait to see what you guys do. I'm super excited, and I hope you have a lot of fun with this. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.